So here is your action for tonight. The simplest exercise Marcus ever practiced, and possibly the most powerful. Take a piece of paper. Write down one thing that is causing you stress right now. Just one. Underneath it, draw a line. Above the line, write what is in your control about this situation. Below the line, write what is not. Cross out everything below the line. Those things no longer deserve your energy. Not because they do not matter, because worrying about them changes nothing. Now look at what is left above the line. Pick one action you can take tomorrow, one specific thing, and do it before noon. That is Stoicism, not a philosophy you read about, a practice you do, every day, until it becomes the way your mind works. Marcus Aurelius ruled for 19 years. He fought wars he did not start. He buried children he could not save. He managed a plague that killed millions. And every night, in a freezing tent, he sat down and wrote notes to himself about how to be better. Not how to be more powerful, not how to be more wealthy, how to be better. That journal survived almost 2,000 years. It crossed continents and centuries, and somehow it ended up here. Not by accident. You searched for something, you clicked on something, you stayed until the end of something. And that tells me you are not looking for entertainment. You are looking for the same thing Marcus was looking for on the banks of the Danube. A way to keep going when everything feels heavy. A way to stay clear when the world gets loud. A way to build a life that means something before it ends. Marcus would have told you the same thing he told himself almost every night. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If this video gave you something real, hit the like button and share it with one person who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more deep audiobook summaries every week. I will see you in the next one. Until then, build the mind you were meant to have. The most famous idea in meditations comes down to two categories: things you can control and things you cannot. Marcus did not invent this. He borrowed it from a man who could not be more different from a Roman emperor. Epictetus, a former slave, born into chains, physically disabled, a man who owned nothing his entire life. And yet he became one of the most respected philosophers in the ancient world. Epictetus taught one central lesson. It is not what happens to you that destroys you. It is your judgment about what happens to you. Marcus writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now, most people hear this and think, oh, just think positive. No. That is not what Marcus is saying, not even close. He is not saying ignore reality. He is not saying pretend everything is fine. He is saying stop pouring your energy into things you cannot change and redirect every drop of it toward the things you can. You cannot control the economy, but you can control how you respond to it. You cannot control whether someone lies about you, but you can control whether you become the kind of person nobody believes lies about. You cannot control whether you get sick, but you can control how you treat your body today. You cannot control the past, not 1 second of it, but you can control what you do in the next 60 minutes. This is not positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. And the difference between the two is the difference between drowning and swimming. Dr. Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania spent decades studying what separates people who thrive from people who collapse under pressure. He studied soldiers returning from war, students facing academic failure, athletes after devastating losses. The single biggest difference he found was something he called explanatory style, the way a person explains bad events to themselves. People who collapse say, "This is permanent, this affects everything, and it is my fault." People who thrive say, "This is temporary, this is specific, and I can act on it." That is Marcus Aurelius. 2,000 years before Seligman published his research, the practical application is immediate. Right now, whatever is stressing you, ask yourself one question. Is this in my control or not? If it is, act. If it is not, let it go. Not because it does not matter, because holding on to it does not change it. Marcus did this every single day for 19 years as emperor. Through plague, through war, through the death of his own children. He did not let go because life was easy. He let go because holding on was killing him. The second principle is the one that has launched entire careers in the modern era. Marcus writes, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Read that again in your head. What stands in the way becomes the way. Most people see an obstacle and stop. They complain, they blame, they wait for someone to remove it. Marcus sees an obstacle and walks directly into it. Not because he is reckless, because the obstacle itself contains the lesson, the skill, and the growth that he actually needs. You got rejected from the job you wanted? That rejection is showing you something about your skills or your approach that no success ever could. Your business failed? That failure contains data worth more than any course you could buy. It showed you exactly where the model broke. Your relationship ended painfully? That pain is revealing exactly what you tolerated that you should never have tolerated. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. Ryan Holiday built an entire best-selling book around this single idea. The Obstacle is the Way has been read by NFL coaches, Navy SEAL teams, and Fortune 500 executives. The New England Patriots read it before their Super Bowl comeback. But the original insight belongs to a man writing alone in a tent, surrounded by death, telling himself, "The thing in my way is the thing I need." Research on post-traumatic growth by Dr. Richard Tedeschi at the University of North Carolina has confirmed this. People who experience severe adversity often report greater personal growth than people who have not. Not despite the suffering, through it. But Marcus takes things even deeper, because controlling what you can and using obstacles is only half the battle. The other half is about how you interpret everything that happens to you. Marcus writes, "Everything is interpretation. How things affect you is determined by your mind's interpretation of them, not the external things themselves. If it rains, you can choose to feel angry, or you can choose to feel grateful that you are alive and can feel the rain on your skin. If someone insults you at work, the insult does not cause pain. Your belief that the insult matters, that it defines your value, that is what causes the pain. Remove the belief and the pain dissolves. The words are still there, but they are just sound waves hitting your eardrums. You chose to turn them into suffering." Marcus puts it simply, your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought. For the human spirit is colored by such impressions. You are what you repeatedly think. So guard which thoughts you allow to exist in your own head. Because most people never realize they have a choice. They assume every thought that enters their mind must be obeyed, that every emotion must be followed. Marcus says no, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides which thoughts to keep. Now here is where Marcus gets uncomfortable. He says your mind should sit superior to your body and its sensations. Deep down, you already know the things you should be doing, and you are not doing them. Not because you lack knowledge, because your body has given you some reason not to. Pain, drowsiness, fatigue, loss of appetite, discomfort. And every time you give in to those sensations, every time you say, "I do not feel like it today," you make your mind the slave of the body. Marcus writes, remind yourself, I am giving in to pain. Say it out loud if you have to, because naming the surrender is the first step to stopping it. This does not mean ignoring your health. It means recognizing the difference between genuine physical limits and the comfortable excuses your body invents to keep you from doing hard things. There is a modern parallel here. Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford has shown that your brain generates a quitting signal long before your body actually reaches its limit. During intense exercise, the brain sends fatigue signals at roughly 40% of true capacity. The purpose is to protect you from danger. But the result is that most people quit when they still have 60% left in the tank. Marcus figured this out without a neuroscience lab. He figured it out by refusing to obey his own discomfort, day after day, for 19 years. But controlling the body is only half of the equation. The other half is controlling your actions. Marcus writes, "No random actions. None not based on underlying principles. Do not wander without a purpose. Act deliberately." Most of us go through life on autopilot. We do things without thinking about why. We react instead of choosing. We drift instead of directing. Marcus says, observe your own mind critically. In every case, ask yourself, what am I currently employing my mind for? What sort of soul am I displaying? Am I acting like a child, a tyrant, an animal? If you can control your actions and think systematically, you will have an untroubled life. But if you do not observe the movements of your own mind, you will be unhappy. And this leads to one of Marcus's most practical teachings: how to handle unkindness. When someone treats you badly, Marcus says there are only two possibilities. Either they are right, in which case you have no right to complain, or they are wrong, in which case they are misguided and have simply made a mistake. Remind yourself how many mistakes you have made in your own life, and feel compassion for them instead of anger. By all means, point out to them where they have gone wrong, but do it directly, with kindness, not to impress anyone watching. And here is the line that stopped me cold. No matter what anyone says or does, my task is to be good. The noblest kind of retribution is not to become like your enemy. Very few people can continually act unkindly toward you if you respond with continued kindness. Try it. You will be stunned by how often it works. Now we arrive at the idea Marcus returns to more than any other in the entire journal. Everything is temporary. Everything. Your success, your failure, your health, your pain, your relationships, your money, your body, the people you love, the people who irritate you. All of it. Passing. Marcus writes, think of the life you have lived until now, a life of changes and chances. Think of the whole universe, infinite time, infinite matter, and how small a part of each you occupy. He wrote this while ruling the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. And he still reminded himself daily that it was all temporary. Most people hear this and think it sounds depressing, but Marcus uses it the opposite way. If everything is temporary, then the bad times will end. The suffering will pass. The failure is not permanent. The embarrassment will fade. And if the good times are also temporary, then you better pay attention. Right now, this moment, because it will not come again. Marcus writes, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. This is a man who buried 8 of his 13 children writing this. And he still calls life a privilege. The Stoics had a practice called Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. Not as a morbid exercise, as a focusing tool. When you remember that your time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop holding grudges. You stop scrolling through other people's lives. You stop postponing the things that actually matter. Steve Jobs, in his famous Stanford speech in 2005, said remembering that I will be dead soon is the most important tool I have ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. He was paraphrasing Marcus Aurelius, whether he knew it or not. And Marcus connects this to the people around you. He says, do not retreat from the world. Humanity is born for cooperation. We are made for one another. Learn to feel affection for other people, even when they make mistakes. You can do this by recognizing they are human too. We all make mistakes, and before long, they will die, just like you. We are all in this together. As a mental exercise, he suggests contemplating the positive qualities of those around you. When you need encouragement, think of the qualities the people around you have. The energy of one, the modesty of another, the generosity of a third. Keep the thought of them ready to hand. This is not sentimental nonsense. This is a psychological tool. Research by Dr. Sarah Algo at the University of North Carolina has shown that deliberately focusing on the positive qualities of the people around you measurably strengthens relationships and increases personal well-being. Marcus was not just being nice. He was being strategic. Kindness is a survival tool. Now we arrive at the principle that separates Marcus from every self-help author who ever lived. Duty. Marcus did not want to be emperor. He wanted to be a philosopher. From the age of 12, he wore the rough cloak of a Stoic philosopher, slept on a hard wooden bed, and gave himself entirely to study. His happiest years were spent reading and thinking. Instead, fate handed him the most demanding job on earth, and he did not run from it. For 19 years, through the Marcomannic Wars against Germanic tribes, through a plague that killed millions, through the revolt of his most trusted general, through the deaths of his own children, he showed up every single day and did the work in front of him. Marcus writes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Stop talking about what you should do. Do it. Stop planning the perfect life. Live the one in front of you. Stop waiting for conditions to be right. They will never be right." The conditions were never right for Marcus. He was fighting wars he did not start, managing a plague he could not cure, mourning children he could not save, and he still did his work, without excuses. This connects directly to a concept in modern psychology called behavioral activation. It is one of the most effective treatments for depression. The principle is almost insultingly simple. Do not wait until you feel motivated to act. Act first, and the motivation follows. Marcus was practicing behavioral activation in 170 AD, not because he read a psychology textbook, because he had no other choice. And neither do you. But Marcus does not just accept suffering, he transforms it. He writes, "It is unfortunate that this has happened. No, it is fortunate that this has happened, and I have remained unharmed by it." Most people hear that and think he is deluding himself. He is not. He is reframing. He is choosing to see the adversity not as damage, but as evidence of his own strength. The event happened. He survived. That survival is the proof that he is stronger than the event. Be like the headland against which the waves continually break. It stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. And Marcus takes this even further. He says, stay practical. Deal with what is in front of you. Stop being aimless. Stop allowing yourself to be distracted. If you seek tranquility, do fewer things, but do them better. Do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life. Stop letting your emotions project into the future, fabricating worries. Master them. Focus on the present, on doing the thing that is in front of you right now. Through hard practice, you can learn even the things which you despair at learning now. For any task at hand, ask yourself, why can I not endure it? You will be embarrassed to answer. Marcus has a line about self-respect that most people walk right past, but it is one of the most important things he ever wrote. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Think about that. You will sacrifice your own judgment, your own values, your own direction, just to avoid the disapproval of people you may not even respect. Marcus says stop. Do what you know is right, regardless of people's reactions. You know what you are about. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. Even worse is when we seek praise from people we do not even admire, seeking the approval of those who are worthy of contempt. His advice is simple. Be honest and straightforward. Do not prance about or keep airs. Stop trying to portray yourself as something you are not. But, and this is crucial, be open to correction. Being corrected is better than remaining in self-deceit. Changing your mind when the evidence turns against you is not weakness. It is strength. It is a free and noble action based on your own will, your own decision, your own mind. Just do not change your mind because of peer pressure or to make someone else comfortable. Change it because the truth demands it. Marcus also says something about money that most people get completely wrong. He does not say wealth is evil. He does not say you should feel guilty for having money. He says wealth in and of itself is neither good nor bad. It is how you use it. Your only true goods are your virtues. Respect your own mind and prize that. Be satisfied in yourself. If you cannot stop craving other things, you will never be free. You will always be envious, jealous, or afraid that someone might come and take things away from you. But those who despise wealth are just as trapped as those who worship it. It still controls them. Better to learn not to let it have any hold over you at all. Use it when you have it. Be absolutely prepared to let it go. Treat what you do not have as non-existent. And be careful not to overvalue what you do have so much that it would destroy you to lose it. And finally, one of the most practical principles in the entire book. Practice getting back on track. Life is an obstacle course. No matter how wise you are, things will throw you off balance. When this happens, make a point of centering yourself at once before proceeding. Marcus writes, when jarred unavoidably by circumstances, revert at once to yourself, and do not lose the rhythm more than you can help. You will have a better grasp of the harmony if you keep going back to it. Whatever negative habits you have overcome, there will come a time when you fall off, when you revert to old patterns, when you give in to impulses you thought you had conquered. Recognize when this happens. Pull yourself back. Do not listen to the voice that says, give up. Today is a write-off. Do not feel defeated because your days are not packed with wise and moral actions. Just get back up. Celebrate behaving like a human, however imperfectly, and fully embrace the pursuits you have embarked on. Not perfection. Return. That is the practice. Now, the honest part. Meditations is not a perfect book. It is repetitive. Marcus circles back to the same ideas over and over. But that is because it was a journal, not a textbook. He was reminding himself of truths he kept forgetting. His view of the universe is tied to the Stoic belief in a divine rational order, where everything happens for a reason. That is a philosophical position, not a proven fact. If it resonates with you, it deepens the experience. If not, take the practical tools and leave the theology behind. And there is a tension Marcus never fully resolves. He preaches acceptance and inner peace while spending 19 years waging war. But I think that tension is what makes the book so powerful. Because Marcus is not a monk on a mountaintop telling you to let go. He is a man drowning in responsibilities, trying every night to find a way to stay human inside all of it. That is not hypocrisy. That is the most honest thing in the entire self-help genre. So here is your action for tonight. The simplest exercise Marcus ever practiced, and possibly the most powerful. Take a piece of paper. Write down one thing that is causing you stress right now. Just one. Underneath it, draw a line. Above the line, write what is in your control about this situation. Below the line, write what is not. Cross out everything below the line. Those things no longer deserve your energy, not because they do not matter, because worrying about them changes nothing. Now look at what is left above the line. Pick one action you can take tomorrow, one specific thing, and do it before noon. That is Stoicism. Not a philosophy you read about, a practice you do, every day, until it becomes the way your mind works. Marcus Aurelius ruled for 19 years. He fought wars he did not start. He buried children he could not save. He managed a plague that killed millions. And every night, in a freezing tent, he sat down and wrote notes to himself about how to be better. Not how to be more powerful, not how to be more wealthy, how to be better. That journal survived almost 2,000 years. It crossed continents and centuries, and somehow it ended up here. Not by accident. You searched for something, you clicked on something, you stayed until the end of something. And that tells me you are not looking for entertainment. You are looking for the same thing Marcus was looking for on the banks of the Danube. A way to keep going when everything feels heavy. A way to stay clear when the world gets loud. A way to build a life that means something before it ends. Marcus would have told you the same thing he told himself almost every night. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If this video gave you something real, hit the like button and share it with one person who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more deep audiobook summaries every week. I will see you in the next one. Until then, build the mind you were meant to have.